And in case you hadn't noticed, the Badri 313 looks like any modern Special Forces unit. Take a close look at this image of the unit. Observe how well equipped the soldiers are. Apart from that big Taliban flag they're wielding, the Badri 313 soldiers wield modern assault rifles, modern firearms, updated combat clothing including protective vests and pads, and even night vision optical devices attached to their combat helmets. While training and tactics are definitely everything, a cursory look at the Badri 313 in comparison to Indian and Pakistani Special Forces shows that they definitely look at least geared for the part. Earlier comprised of a mix of militant groups, the Badri 313 now operates with the Taliban. The name of the unit originates from the Battle of Badr, in which Muhammad led a victorious army of 313 men. Indoctrinated with the Taliban's brand of militant Islam, with a name that harks back to an ancient religious war, but kitted out for the modern battlefield. The Badri 313 train like any commando unit, with all manner of tactical, storming and attack training conducted at undisclosed locations in the hinterland. The high-quality images released on social media by the Badri 313 last week also appear pointed at serving a purpose. Experts believe it could be the Taliban sending out a signal that they aren't a ragtag movement of farmers and shepherds who live by stealing weapons, but have embraced modern military methods, even Special Forces operation tactics. The Badri 313 unit has already begun to secure Kabul and other areas, imposing the will of the Taliban. With the Taliban now in power, there's every reason to believe that the militia could grow in strength. Expect to see much more of the Badri 313 in the weeks and months ahead. Bureau Report, India Today.
The inter-weapons stock of the Afghan army is now with the Taliban. There is a detailed report on that.
44 main battle tanks, over 1,000 armored fighting vehicles, at least 775 artillery guns, 20 advanced mine-protected vehicles. In 72 hours, the Taliban has inherited one of the largest hauls of heavy weaponry in its history. Gone are the days when the Taliban had to make do with a handful of rifles left behind by retreating forces. Now they've hit the mother lode, with caches of thousands upon thousands of firearms falling into their hands. A dream come true for the terrorist-style movement, the Taliban has had to exert little or no pressure to capture these enormous weapon stocks. But as we've reported here on India Today, hitting the firearms jackpot is only one side of the story. The true meat of this jackpot is the heavy weaponry that has fallen into Taliban hands. The Taliban has had experience hijacking one or two Soviet tanks in the past, but they've now inherited a full regiment of main battle tanks, a formidable arsenal to have to impose its will on the streets of Afghanistan. Inheriting hundreds upon hundreds of armored fighting vehicles and iconic Humvees mean Taliban forces get to move in a much more militarized manner, easing the flow of their military objectives. A crucial, unprecedented gain for the Taliban has been the huge arsenal of artillery that has fallen into their hands. This includes 24 pieces of US 155mm M114A1 howitzer guns that had been given to the Afghan military by the United States. And with these US Max Pro mine-protected vehicles, the Taliban can conduct much more perilous operations in dangerous parts of the war-torn nation. It is very important to note that the Taliban has inherited weapons capabilities that it did not previously have. And the implications of this lethal inheritance will only be known in the days and the weeks ahead. The Taliban has promised a bloodless regime in Kabul. Just how bloodless, with so many teeth at its disposal, remains to be seen. Bureau Report, India Today.
Has also captured a huge number of aircraft But can they use them? Let us find out.
Taliban terrorists posing with their newfound spoils, with the United States upping and leaving so abruptly, and the Afghanistan military simply